Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Ball and All podcast. My name is Mpho, and I'm the host of this show, this basketball show. It's a bit of basketball podcast. We do all things basketball, NBA, WNBA, and Basketball Africa League. What I did last year, I did the Basketball Africa League recap every game, every day. I provided a recap on the games. This year, we have Basketball Africa League 2022 opening day starting today. We had an opening ceremony. Amadou Galafol, the president of NBA Africa, spoke about the league. The league is bigger. It's better than the last year. Remember, last year we're in Kigali. Now we've got two conferences, one in Dakar, one in Cairo, and then you're gonna have the playoffs in Kigali. You've got 12 teams fighting to play to get to the playoffs. So it means 6 teams in each conference. 4 teams in each conference will make it through. Here are the conferences for you. And so what happened today on March the 5th was that we had the opening match between the host nation, DUC, the Dakar University basketball team against SLAC from Guinea. So it was DUC from Senegal and SLAC from Guinea, and it was really, really awesome. But before we talk about that game, please remember to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, Mpho. It's the same thing. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go there and have a look at my Ball and All challenge. I do a recap of the Basketball Africa League, and that's what I'm going to do right now. Game 1, DUC from Senegal versus SLAC from Guinea. The winner ended up being SLAC from Guinea, 85-70. It was a monster second half from SLAC, a monster third quarter from SLAC. In that third quarter, SLAC put on 32 points versus DUC's 11. Remember, DUC went into the half leading by 8 points. It was a 21-point turnaround in that third quarter. SLAC ended up scoring 45 points. 48 points in that second half versus 25. Kind of gives you an indication of what was going on in that SLAC dressing room. And largely because if you look at that SLAC roster, there's a lot of guys returning from the previous season of the BAL. Marcus Crawford was in the final of the BAL with the US Monastir. He didn't go to Monastir. He ended up playing for SLAC this season. You had Joseph Nziako, who played for AS Police last year. That's the Cameroonian. That was the team last year out of Cameroon. No, it was out of. I was out of West Africa. I lost my train of thought. I'll find out where AS Police actually came out of in terms of the basketball team. I was out of Burkina Faso, I beg your pardon. And then you also had who was it? Then you had Dave Miller Jr., who was a really, really good player today, American in that team, really strong. And then you also has Christopher Obekpa from Nigeria, and that roster it's insane. It is amazing. Then you had Khalil, number 24, Fofana Khalil, who just essentially was the glue. He'd had the least amount of points out of that 4, but he had the highest plus minus because he was just that good. He was the glue. He had the most assists for them. He had about 6 in the game, and was just moving the game around. But if you look at what had happened in the first half, the big problem that SLAC had was defensively. They weren't getting to their spots in time. They were committing some needless fouls to the point where in that first half they were 12-1. So DUC had 12 free throws made, 12 points from free throws, and SLAC had 1. It was 1 out of 6. DUC had 12 from 14. And then that turned around to being 2 from 8 in the second half, where 2 free throws made from out of 4 from DUC, and 8 were made from SLAC. So that kind of gave you a sense of how it turned. But most importantly, it was how the half court was handled by SLAC offensively going forward. SLAC were really good in the half court. Marcus, I think I tweeted that Marcus Crawford needs to grab a hold of this game, and he did. He ended up with 30 points at 4 rebounds and 2 assists. Really, I haven't seen a great performance in a BL game since that last season where Terrell Stoglin of Ayasale put down 40 points. It was that important. But if you look at what Crawford did, he was shooting threes. He was getting pick and rolls. If he was double teamed out of the pick and roll, he'd give it to the roller. He also then would take those screens, go in, shoot in the mid range. If not, he was really deadly from three. He really ran that SLAC offense in the second half. And then you've got Nziako, who's a great wing player who could shoot threes, who can dominate in the paint. Obekpa was a great center. He's a great stretch five, really good running the floor on both ends with blocks and defense and rebounding. He ended up with 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. Miller Jr. Was a great two-guard to Marcus Crawford. Really good. It's actually a 3. Miller Jr. is more of a 3, and he scored 22 points. The big difference here was the quality eventually told in this game. Duke University team, very young team, have some really bright spots, and we'll talk about that. But from this roster, the starting five of SLAC is going to be a very strong starting five. They're going to give teams a lot of trouble. And looking at this game, I kind of see SLAC going into the playoffs and might even possibly even going deep, getting through their quarterfinal, maybe even causing problems in the semifinal. They are that good. Very West African style of play, very wing dependent, very rangy. Good in defense. They had they had like 16 points of turnovers. They created a lot of steals in this game, and it was really good to see how SLAC did. They had 36 points in the paint versus 22. Kind of told you what SLAC ended up doing in the first half. They were trying to shoot a lot of threes. They weren't trying to get into the paint. This time they did. In the second half, points from turnovers is 16 to SLAC to 6 of Duke. It just was a lesson in how to play controlled basketball. In the first half, the fans in Dakar Arena were amazing. They were going up against the home side. They were very strong. For the home side felt it. They had the energy. They were shooting threes. They were making them. SLAC kind of took a while to get in, and once they got in, they were very, very good. And to think about it, only 2 players from Duke scored above 10 points. That was Abel Diop, the captain of Duke. He scored 12 points and 10 rebounds. Really good double-double performance. Diakite, the number 28, he scored 17 points. But if you look at the other side, Crawford 30, Miller Jr. 22, Obekpa with 13. You had Nziako with 11. It was just a really good all-round performance. They shared the ball, they moved the ball, and most importantly, they understood how to get points in the half court. Duke in the second half just couldn't. They were very sloppy. They were missing layups. They just didn't know what to do. They were taking threes. They weren't making them, but they were contested threes. Every shot in the paint, and this was really well done to SLAC. Every shot inside the paint was contested. Obekpa was just a really strong body in there, and that was something that they need to look at. In these 2 conferences, you need to win 2 games at minimum, and so Duke still have a chance in this tournament. I think they'll come up well against Rage, the Rwanda Energy Group, representing Rwanda in a game, as well as CFV Beira as well. I think they might end up coming through, but SLAC could also be fighting for the number 2 spot. I think it'll be a great game between them and Ayasale, and also to see how good Monastir is. They might take them for a run for their money, so that's really good. But the good things out of Duke were Diakite, were Abel Diop, but most importantly, the NBA Academy player. Remember, this league, this year, all the teams will get 1 player from the NBA Africa Academy, and this year for Duke, it was Abubakar Sane, or Babaka Sane, actually, the number 15. Really, really good player. He's got hops, actually. That was a surprising thing for me. He can shoot from the perimeter. He can dominate in the paint. He's a really good on-ball defender. He really great shuffling of his feet. He was good today. It's just that he came up against a team that was experienced in this. And I think the most important thing for SLAC that they ever did was to get Marcus Crawford into their side. They got Miller Jr., who's been with them for a while now, and there's Crawford adding to Miller. They got in Ziako from AS Police, and it just worked. It worked very, very well for them today, and it's a really good start, great way to set the tone for this tournament. One win in, you need another win to kind of cement your place as the fourth best team. So SLAC have that, but it's not over for DUC. I think they might end up still getting the 2. Great support in the Dakar arena. The fans were amazing. It was a really good spectacle. Good to hear Robbie knock on comms, as well as Quinton on comms. Asher as well, Asher Kamugisha. Really good to hear them as well. Great product so far. Hoping to get better as the tournament goes on, but really, really impressed by this SLAC team and DUC as well. High quality basketball. 150 points were scored today. Over 150 points scored today, which is good. For the Basketball Africa League. Lots of fans, lots of celebrities that were there. And Macky Sall, the president, was there. It's just that the Senegalese team just fell short at the end. There are lots of things to work on from them. Just trying to figure out how the half court goes and leaning more onto their stars. Their guard play for DUC is a problem. If you look at their guards, and I'm going to talk about their 3 starting guards. Tieno Niang, 1 from 5 from the field. 20% field goal percentage. That can't happen. Sheikh Bamba Diallo, 1 from 7 from the field. That can't happen. They small forward, Sheikh Fai, who I was expecting a lot from. He got 9 points, 3 from 7 from the field. I could live with that. But then their bench guards, Hamid Tariq Ali, who was really good from an assists perspective in that first half. He came out with 1 from 8 from the field, 5 points. That can't happen. They need much better production from their guards. Their forwards are very good, but they just can't get their guards working right in there. And I think that's what hurt them in that second half. First half, the guards were creating assists. They were scoring a little bit more, but in that second half, it just dried out. They got tight. And that's one of the reasons why they lost. Excited for tomorrow's games. The first game tomorrow would be REG versus AS Saleh. So Terrell Stoglin comes into the tournament now. He was the MVP of the tournament. He's the guy who scored the most points in the tournament. He is a show. 2 p.m. GMT. That's 4 p.m. South African time. Please do watch out for this game. It's going to be really good. The Rwandan Energy Group beat the Patriots last year. Patriots came 4th in the Basketball Africa League. They're the ones who are representing Rwanda, so that's going to be really awesome to see. And another massive game, a really interesting game of contrasting styles. You're going to get the big US Monastir team coming up against CFE Beira, who are a really good, quick team. So it's going to be pace versus power, essentially. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team works out from Monastir. They are the runners-up, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how they handle this game. Romdan is going to be there. You've also going to get Atamajok as well into this game. It's going to be quite interesting and really good to see Will Perry with Beira as well from Mozambique. So that's going to be quite a good game to watch. So please do watch out for that. For myself and Mpho, today we'll be back tomorrow to discuss these games and how they worked out. But enjoy your evening and tomorrow and the games tomorrow. We'll be back again on this recap of the Basketball Africa League on the Ball and All podcast. Remember to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. From myself, Mpho Mugani, and the Ball and All team. Lesale. Goodbye, good night, and Lesale. Kakafisa.